This is a piece from the sermon that got cut because of timing issues. Yesterday, the sermon was on Romans chapter 8, and one of the big things is about how hope leads us to patience. And that's not always fun news. We don't always want to hear that, but it's very good news for us. And so this is the story that I cut out of the sermon I wanted to share with you guys. I've got it right here. And so it says, when I was a teenager, me and all my friends were in bands, right? That was the cool thing to do. We all played music and we'd put on shows, and our friends would show up and listen to us, and we would go, and then they would listen, we would listen to them. And that was like the thing when I was in high school. And I always wanted to fit in with that crowd. You know, like I wanted to be one of the cool kids, but I wasn't, all right? I was not one of the cool, like I owned a guitar and I could sort of play it. But I never really fit in with that group of people. I always kind of felt like an imposter. I was never one of the cool kids. Truth is, I was a huge dork when I was in high school. If you knew me, or if you've talked to me for more than 10 seconds, that makes a lot of sense. I got really good grades, and I always wanted to be a good kid. I wasn't out there trying to like break the rules. It just wasn't my style. And I remember one time my friends, they went off and they did something without me. I can't even remember what it was, but they left me out. Like they did not even invite me. I didn't even get invited because I was, the nicknames I had in high school were like Goody Two Shoes and you're Mr. Straight Lace. You know, that's me. And at the time when I got left out and my friends abandoned me, I remember that it was like the end of the world. You know, like I couldn't handle the betrayal. It felt so awful. I felt so abandoned. And I remember little 15-year-old, wannabe punk rocker JJ, sitting in the kitchen, and my parents were trying to comfort me. They were trying to make me feel better. And my mom said something that I will never forget. She said, I know it's hard to imagine, but in a few years, this won't even matter. You're going to go off to college. You're going to go on to bigger and better things. And you won't even remember why you cared so much about these other kids and their opinion. And at that time, in that moment, I didn't believe her. I was like, no, Mom, you just don't understand me, right? This is the most important moment in my life right now, here, 15-year-old JJ. And then I grew up. I went to college. I met new friends, and I held on to old friends. And now, looking back years later, it seems so silly that I got so upset, because compared to all the awesome stuff that God had for me in the future, that suffering was not even worth comparing. Even though it pains me to admit this, my mother was right. It's not to say that suffering becomes fun. I'm not belittling the experiences of our teenagers. It's a big deal. But in light of the good stuff that's coming, it doesn't even compare. And that was one of the big messages of Romans. He said, he uses the example of childbirth, and he says, in light of what's coming, the pain we go through, it doesn't even compare. So maybe you're going through a storm right now. You're in the middle of the contraction, labor pains of life. There is more coming. There's something beautiful and incredible that God has in store for you. So anyways, you guys have a great day. Bye.